Welcome back to That's How God Rolls, a space for anyone who loves God, wants to know Him deeper, and wants to walk a little closer with Him in the everyday moments of life. I want to talk today to a very specific kind of Christian. The Christian who gets irritated at church. The Christian who left a church because of a sermon. The Christian who argues online, writes rebuttal comments, or feels the need to correct people. The Christian who feels alone because they think more deeply than the people around them. The Christian who loves God, but struggles to love God's people. If that's you, this episode is for you. Because recently, God took me through something that exposed my own immaturity and invited me into a deeper kind of love. A few weeks ago, I was sitting in church, and I felt irritation rising in me. The kind that used to make me want to leave the church altogether. In the past, I did leave churches when sermons annoyed me. I'd think, this is theologically incorrect. I can't stay here. I'd get frustrated, withdraw, and start imagining a different church where people thought like me. But this time, I didn't leave or fantasize about leaving. I sat there. I stayed in the irritation, and I asked God, why are you doing this? What am I supposed to learn? What should I do going forward? I didn't get an answer right away, but I stayed open. And then, after the service, my husband turned to me and said, God was talking to me during the sermon. He said we need to learn to be tolerant of other opinions. It was the exact thing I had been asking God about. The Spirit was speaking to both of us. And here's the thing. The day before, we had met with a farmer. A good man, but with very strong political opinions. Every time my husband tried to speak, the farmer shut him down, dismissed him, talked over him. My husband left that conversation irritated. He carried that irritation into church the next day, and God used it. Because irritation is often the place where God reveals where our love is still small. Now, let me give you some context. We live in a town of about 5,000 people. There are maybe 20 people here with university degrees. Both my husband and I have post-grad degrees. We think in philosophy, law, theology, economics, public policy at a level that's not common here. We're not better, we're just wired differently. And when you're wired differently, irritation becomes easy. It's easy to think, these people don't think deeply. This sermon is too literal. This interpretation is wrong. This conversation is shallow. I need to be around people who think like me. But here's what God showed me. My intellect was strong, but my love was weak. And that was the real problem. Not the sermon, not the farmer, not the church, not the town, my heart. So I repented. Because I was immature. I repented for the times I argued, for the times I corrected people, for the times I got irritated, for the times I left churches, for the times I thought my IQ mattered more than my love. I repented because irritation was still ruling my heart, and God was inviting me into maturity. Here's the truth I want to share with you. God is far more concerned with the heart that turns toward Him than the mind that interprets Him correctly. A person can misunderstand a verse, take something literally, or have clumsy theology, and still genuinely love God. And God delights in that. But a person can have perfect theology, flawless interpretation, and high intelligence, and still be spiritually immature, proud, and unloving. And God grieves that. Paul says, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. The global church is not collapsing because of lack of intelligence. It's collapsing because of lack of love. There is such a thing as harmful interpretation. But it's not what most people think. Harmless, incorrect interpretation is when someone's misunderstanding still leads them toward God. Harmful, incorrect interpretation is when someone's misunderstanding distorts God's character and leads them away from love. That's the only boundary that matters. Not literal versus symbolic, not denominational versus denominational, not theological precision versus theological looseness. Only love versus distortion. And here's the prophetic part. We have Christians arguing online, writing rebuttal comments, leaving churches, despising denominations, mocking other believers, rejecting people who interpret differently. This is not just sad, it's an abomination. Because Jesus prayed that we may be one. And Paul asked, is Christ divided? But today, Christians reject Christians. Living stones refuse to sit next to each other. And the global church cannot become a temple if the stones keep throwing each other out of the pile. So here's the call. If you're irritated at church, if you've left churches, if you argue online, if you correct people, if you feel intellectually alone, maybe God is not trying to fix the church. Maybe he's trying to fix you. Maybe irritation is your teacher. Maybe tolerance is your next spiritual milestone. Maybe love is the final hurdle. Maybe unity is the last thing God is waiting for. Because the world doesn't need a smarter church, it needs a loving one. I'm not ashamed of my irritation. I'm grateful for it. Because irritation was the place God finally matured me. And maybe it's the place he wants to mature you too.